Why does our world need our voice now more than ever? Why is it important that we share our stories and our experiences and our wisdom? That's what we're going to explore together in today's video. Hi, I'm Patricia, and welcome to A Balanced Life. This YouTube channel has been created for those of us in our 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s who need some self-care, emotional, physical, mental ways of supporting ourselves in this joyous and exciting and sometimes intimidating chapter of our lives. And in our series so far, and if you've gone back and seen some of our previous videos, then you'll know that we've strayed a little bit from what maybe you would typically think is mental health, physical health, and emotional health. The idea is that we're creating support systems, guideposts, conversation and communication, practical tools around all of the ways that we can be supporting ourselves as we age, because we want to thrive, not just survive. But there are a lot of ways that we can look at self-care that maybe are not atypical. There are a lot of channels that talk about the more outer aspects of aging, maybe our hair color or skin routines, makeup, maybe what we should and shouldn't wear. And all of that content is a lot of fun and very informative, and I enjoy it. This channel is really more about what motivates us and supports us from the inside out, as opposed to just only talking about our exterior or physical appearance. So I'm glad you're here. If you haven't yet, please like and subscribe, and check out some of our other videos. I do want to talk a little bit as well about the style of the videos, and that's important because today we're talking about our voices, our stories, and why it's important at our age to be sharing our experiences, to be not intimidated to speak up, and to make sure that we still have a vocal place in this world, in our communities, in our homes, in our relationships. And as we age, it can be challenging because there certainly is the feeling, and I think it has been documented well, that the older you get, the grayer you get, the less visible you are in society. So that's one really important reason why it's important to share our voice. But as I was saying about wanting to, set this channel up properly and appropriately, that means being true to myself. And my style is fairly natural, I hope. I'm not reading off of notes. I will stumble a little bit. I've not put any filters on. So it's important to me to show up authentically as myself. And in doing that, I first of all can be honest and truthful about myself. It certainly takes the pressure off of having to be somebody else. But honestly, if we're talking about being true in our voices, then I need to meet myself where I am. And when I do that, then I'm able to meet you where you are. I've been accused maybe of being a little bit animated, but that's just how I am. This is just my personality and how I talk and relate. And so I hope that you'll show up to our conversations and to this community as you are. We accept you as you are, and we're just thrilled that you're here. And if you are inclined, please along the way make a comment, make some suggestions. We've had some in some previous videos and they've been wonderful. And my goal is to explore and share some of those with you in upcoming videos. But that's the long kind of I'm not even sure if that's a word. Anyway, that's a long introduction into and set up for our conversation today around why it's important to share our stories and why your voice matters. One really important aspect of sharing our stories and using our own voices. So when I say use your voice, I'm talking about certainly just how you speak, of course, but the way you speak, the words you choose, and then how you recreate stories or experiences or moments in your life that you're trying to share. And so that's what your voice means. It means your authentic way of relating to others, and how we use our voices, or how whatever our means of communication is, however we're choosing to communicate, that we're not overly editing, that we are being authentic, being honest, and being true to ourselves. And what that does is, and this is, I think, one of the most beautiful things about using our voices when we're sharing our stories, is that we create connection. When we show up how we are, we give others permission to do the same. It can be very empowering to share struggles, to talk about experiences, to ask questions and ask for input from others about something that we're going through. When we're aging, it's really important to do that because there's so much that's out of our control. A lot of the things are unknown. And if we are so isolated or too much into ourselves, or we're embarrassed, or we have some shame, or we have some guilt, if somebody who's feeling that comes across something you've written or you've spoken about, or just as in a general conversation, you're empowering them. You're giving them permission. You're helping them to say, okay, maybe I'm not alone. Oh my gosh, somebody else feels this way too. Or I didn't think of looking at this issue or this challenge or this particular moment with that kind of perspective. It opens doors, it opens worlds to possibilities and other ways of thinking about things that can have a profound effect on us in the moment and as we're aging and moving on in our lives. The beautiful thing about stories is that it creates a connection that data can't. So it's, we can read information, and we can take in dates, and we can take in numbers and facts and figures. But if we share an emotional story with somebody, something that requires connection, or maybe doesn't even require it, but it's just a natural outcome. So if we've told a story in our own voice that connects with somebody, that is something that only stories can do. It's a very human and humanity filled way of communicating. When we tell our stories in our own voices, as we've illustrated, it has a beautiful effect on the people who are listening or responding or reading or in the moment with you. But it has an even more powerful effect on ourselves. When I speak, I am claiming my autonomy. I am making myself, my opinion, my voice heard. I am stating how I feel. I'm sad, I'm happy, I'm angry, I'm scared, I'm intimidated, I'm joyful, I'm hopeful. It can be the wide range of things. And just having the permission, feeling that it's okay to share your story or to use your own words, it is powerful, it is profound, it is strength building, it is empowering to others, but most importantly, it helps you create a place in this world that is uniquely your own. And that is a gift to yourself. Yes, it's a gift to others as well. But you deserve not to be shrinking and getting quieter unless that's what you choose. But if you want to say something, if you want to make your stories heard or your voice heard, then making that gesture, those first steps in speaking your truth or writing your experiences, that's going to have a profound effect on yourself and how you show up in the world. And this is true in all of our relationships. It can be challenging and intimidating to say what it is you want to say in a relationship. not talking just about family relationships or friendships, even in your workplace. Certainly, there's some etiquette that you follow and rules and norms that we accept as a society about how it is appropriate to treat people. The less that you speak, the less practice we get at saying how we feel. It can feel awkward. We can stumble. Not all conversations are easy. But each time you have to take that deep breath, swallow a little bit, and say something challenging or difficult, you've respected yourself and you've respected the situation and the community that you want to have yourself heard in. And again, that can be very personal, but it can also be something a little bit more public. We have a responsibility to ourselves to make sure that we're understood. And then we also have a responsibility to the people that we're in relationships with to be understood. And again, that's not about other people, it's about ourselves. How are we showing up? Are we speaking respectfully? Are we speaking in a tone and with the words that are in keeping with our value system? And people can't know us and know that if we don't use our voice and share our stories. The other beautiful thing about sharing our stories, especially for those of us in our 50s and above, is that we get to share our wisdom, our learned experiences, our lived experiential life. We haven't made it this far without having work or relationship, life challenges meet us. And we met those and we survived and did the best we could. And now maybe somebody else could benefit from that. History has a way of repeating itself, and maybe it's because not enough of us have spoken up, right? So, if you have an opportunity to say something, you have a burning desire to share something, then it's important that you do, because you have experiences and you have wisdom that needs to be shared, it needs to be heard, so that we can all learn from it. And we learn a little bit more about you, and we learn a little bit more about this life we're living, and we maybe gives us hope for the future. I think the world wants to hear our stories too. Sometimes the loudest people in the rooms are the ones who, and we've all been in that room, the loudest ones in the room are the ones that are heard. The more we marginalize ourselves, especially as we're aging, so the older we get, we become a little bit more isolated, we're not out in the community as much, our voices then become quieter and smaller and harder to hear amongst the louder voices that are enthusiastically living their lives as they should. It's not about quieting other people, it's just allowing ourselves to also take up space. And there's nothing, I think, that could be more profoundly impactful on our mental health and our emotional health than being able to express what's inside us with our own voices and in a way that speaks truth to ourselves. I think this YouTube experience has shown me that real authentic voices are what we're craving. When I'm on YouTube listening to other creators and searching for content, the ones that I'm drawn to are the ones who are most genuinely themselves. They're just speaking the truth, their truth. They're talking about their lives and their experiences in a way and about situations that I can relate to or I want to learn more about. And so it's that perspective, that set of experiences that they're willing to share and be vulnerable about and honest and transparent that draws me in. And so when you tell your stories, that's what you're doing as well. You are being vulnerable, there's nuance, there's expressions, and just general joy, undercurrent of joy in being able to share what we're feeling and what we're going through, or what we've done and had in our lives, in a way that speaks truth to ourselves, but also allows others to relate to us as well. When I think about being over the age of 50 and looking at the next 25, 30 years ahead of me, I want to feel that I can speak my mind. I can say what's in my heart. I can express myself in my relationships and in my family and in my community. But what does it mean then to be over the age of 50 and documenting our lives? How do we possibly start to do that? How do we tell our stories? There's so many ways now that we can do it. You could start a YouTube channel. I encourage you, if you're thinking about starting a YouTube channel, I highly encourage it. It's work for sure, but the sense of community that you feel and the sense of purpose that I have, and then the opportunity just to express myself is one that's giving me a lot of great pleasure, a sense of purpose, as I've said, but also I'm learning so much and I'm exploring. So YouTube, I highly recommend it. And if you're sitting on the fence about it, then this is your gentle nudge to jump into it. You can blog, you can journal. Journaling is a tried and true self-care practice. Telling your stories. There are people who have kept journals for years. I journal on and off. But what I do is though, I keep a calendar. I still have a handwritten calendar. I keep notes in that. And for me, it's a way of documenting my life. And that pen to paper feels really good to me, but it doesn't have to be that. You can journal by writing blog posts on your computer. You can just keep a daily journal on your computer. So you could do audio podcasts. Now, have you thought about a podcast? Storytelling podcasts are extremely popular. And maybe you don't even want to go that far. Maybe you just want to record your voice and tell stories. What if for 5 days in a row, 10 days, even 1 month, you decided every day for 5 minutes you were going to turn on the recorder on your phone and tell a story about something that happened to you that day or in your past, or maybe it's expressing something that's on your mind. And after 5 days, 10 days, 30 days, you have this phenomenal group of stories and experiences that you have captured. It's an incredibly powerful thing to write our own stories, to make sure that our perspective in this world that we're living in is captured and documented for ourselves. It creates a legacy and it preserves our own life experiences. And then if you choose to share those stories, even just one, what you might inadvertently do is find a connection with somebody who is going through something similar or can relate or just is intrigued by your voice and what it is you have to say. And you could then unlock something in them that encourages them to tell their story and use their voice. We don't have to like all the stories. We don't have to listen to all the voices. Not at all. But I think, especially for women over the age of 50, we have something really important to share. And at this time in our lives, maybe we have a bit more time to reflect on our lives and our experiences, to share our wisdom, to create community for other women to share their stories. This has been a very unfiltered video this time. And as I said earlier, I'm trying to really show up authentically. I want to encourage you to share your stories and learn to have strength and grow into the power of our voice, especially because as we're aging, so many things are changing and so many things are out of our control. I would love to hear your thoughts and comments on this bit of a tangential, see, I still can't say the word, on this very windy but honest video around finding your voice. I will post this. I'm just thinking now that, this may not be my best video, but you know what? I am showing up as myself. I'm going to have grace and self-compassion about that, not too much judgment. And I'm going to, post it and look forward to your comments. Please like and subscribe. And as always, if you haven't done something kind for yourself today, well, it's time.